So, welcome to the Golden Age podcast. We strongly believe that in spite of all the confusion and chaos in this world, there is actually a really bright future ahead of us that the media is not going to show us for sure. But we're going to talk about it today by having inspiring guests like my friend Ori today, who are already co-creating the new world that we all dreaming in our heart, that we all know is possible and will blossom and unfold in this world, hopefully in a very near future. So Ori is a masculine reclamation coach, and he works with men and helps them to reclaim and embody their masculinity and to find their power, strength, and freedom within. He has a special emphasis on doing shadow work and to bring light into the unconscious parts of our being to really unlock and unfold our full potential as men and as human beings. So welcome, Ori. I'm really happy to have you here today.
Thank you, Stefan. It's really nice to be here and good to see you again.
And I also want to start that I actually did some workshops with you that I really enjoyed. And that's also why I wanted to have you here today as a guest, because I really know the work that you're doing from my first-hand experience, and I totally love it. But for
I remember that.
Yes, it was a very powerful few days together. But for the people who just don't have so much experience with doing man's work, maybe you can share a little bit, what does a masculine reclamation coach actually do? Masculinity reclamation coach actually do?
Yeah. So the answer to this question can go in many ways. So basically, I'm trying to help people in retreats and workshops to bring men together and to help them embody their masculinity and ask themselves, what is masculinity? What is the masculine energy, and what is my flavor, unique flavor of it? And to help them to embody their authenticity and to help them understand what kind of a man they are. So there's a lot of men's work modalities there and a lot of coaches there that are trying to do like a cookie cutter and to create, this is what a man looks like box, and then to put all the men into that box. And I believe that while the masculine energy is very clear and has its own energetical frequency, so is the feminine. We all have both in us. We all embody both, like everything in this universe, like everything in this world. And I want to know who I am. How does this dance happen with me? And with coming into that authenticity, then I can embody more freedom, more power, more confidence. My understanding of confidence and my feeling of confidence is that true confidence comes from us being who we are. It's not about becoming big or becoming strong or looking like anything in particular. It's about being who I am unapologetically. It's about embodying who I am in this moment, because we also change a lot, right?
Yes.
So if I can show up right here, right now, as I'm sitting, as who I am, and own that, and embody that and show that, then I can start feeling at ease. Then I can start channeling my wisdom. Then I can start offering my gift as the man that I am right now in this moment. And as I do so more and more, I come into my confidence, because I'm not trying to be anything else than I am, right? And I start channeling more of my power, because I'm not trying anymore. I'm not trying to please. I'm not trying to figure out who I am, right? And it's a very freeing process. That's why the pillars or the place that I'm trying to get people is to more confidence, freedom, and power.
Yes. And in our circles, man's work might already be something that many people are aware of. But I think in the majority of this world, this concept doesn't even exist, because most people aren't even aware that we as men have lost touch with what it actually means to be a man. What are real values that we embody as men? And I found it really healing, the days that we spent together in the workshop, just the fact that we spent together, like a group of men spent these days together focusing on masculinity, was already healing in itself, to look at what does it mean to be a man. So when we spent a few days together in the workshop that I did with you, I found it really powerful and healing to spend time together as a group of men, understanding, learning more together about masculinity. And I noticed that myself, and I think many men in this world, we don't even really know what are our values as men, because we have thrown out so many old values that we realized maybe were not real or didn't serve us, but we didn't really learn new role models already. And I'm curious, from your perspective, what are real masculine values that we as men kind of want to relearn, want to understand in our journey of embodiment?
That's a really good question. And I'm going to start with saying something, which is the reclamation part, which is tied to your question. Why reclamation? Why do we need to reclaim something here? And it's because in today's society, we're really confused. We don't have healthy, most of us don't have healthy masculine role models. Our leaders are not embodying that energy in a good way, in a healthy way, in an integral way. And so masculinity today, and the masculine and men in general, are being feared, are being deemed as abusers, predators. The masculine power is something that we need to be careful for, and like now we need to shut it down if we want to be conscious men, right? And now, where there is a lot of toxic masculinity out there today, that we see in media, that we see in our leaders, and we see a lot around, there is a reclamation of the healthy, of the integral masculine archetype, right? Of the father, of the brother, of the son, of the grandfather, of the leaders that we need. And so that's the reclamation part. And to tie it back to what are why it felt so good to you to sit with men. Because we were taught that other men are competition, other men are dangerous. We need to be careful from men. You know, if we see a man in his full power and full roar, how does it make us feel? You know? Do we compete? We compare? We're like, oh, alpha, and we start like maybe seeing where is he doing wrong? Something is wrong with that. Something needs to pacify there. Something needs to lower the volume. We're taught that, and also we feel that, and we're getting told that we're islands, that we need to do this alone.
Yes.
That we need to face our emotions alone. And what we're seeing today is all these men trying to figure out who they are, what they're about, what are they here to do, what's the best way to be in this world and to be a man. And there's a lot of confusion. And in those few days that we retreat and we come together as a circle, as a council, and it's a safe space for men to be together and to show themselves and to open. There is something ancient that is being unlocked in us. There's something ancient that's being unlocked in you in those days, which is the remembrance of, oh, this is what we're supposed to do. This is where we're supposed to be. You know, in our biology, we've been, the most part of our evolution, hunter-gatherers. And a lot of the time,
and soldiers as well.
And soldiers, some of us. And in the hunter-gatherer time of our evolution, a lot of the time the men would go out, be on a journey, a hunting journey for a long time alone in the woods, quiet, single purposed, trying to provide, trying to bring home something, trying to take care of their families, take care of their communities, and they're doing it together with other men in collaboration. And at night, sitting around the fire, being either quiet or telling stories or laughing. This camaraderie and brotherhood is something that is natural for us, but we forgot. We disconnected. We live in a society that tells us that that's not safe to do anymore. As soon as you do that, as soon as you open a space for men to be together in a safe way, that we're not competing for anything, we're not fighting for anything, we're not threatening each other's stature and position in the tribe, then the most beautiful moments that I've witnessed in my life can happen.
I can feel it even when you speak about it now. They're like sitting together around a campfire after a day of hunting. Even the vegetarian in me gets wants to sit there.
Hunting the apples or whatever.
Yes. And what I mentioned about soldiers didn't fit into that example that you gave, because you gave a very positive example. But when I was contemplating some days ago, and I think like I don't spend enough time with men, with groups of men. And I was contemplating about it. What's the reason? Why did society develop into this direction? And two things came to my mind. One was war, because we were like forced to go into war over so many generations. And now looking back, at least myself coming from Germany, there's a lot of like understanding that this was wrong. So in a way, there's also like a disconnecting from this like being together with men, like fighting for something. And the second ingredient is also the digital world. Because before, like generations before, people went to the soccer club or they went to all kind of activities together. And now we spend so much time on the digital world, which especially both men and women, but especially as men, we're even more isolated. It's us and the world. So these were the two main ingredients that I identified when I was contemplating on this topic. And I'm wondering, do you agree with this? And are there other reasons that you see besides these two?
Yeah, this is a really good question. Thank you for bringing it up. I resonate with the thing you share. And there are more. First of all, masculine, feminine polarities, right? So feminine, receptive, masculine, penetrative, emissive, right? That's why they go well together, right? This is receiving this, and they move together and doing this beautiful dance. Now, if you take feminine and feminine, it's also receptive, receptive. It's like very flowy and nice and soft. If you take masculine and masculine, it's emissive and emissive. It's penetrative and penetrative. So it's like two stags with the antlers,
Yes.
So there's something with just solely the energy that brings that clash. So it's not as easy and as flowy and as wavy as masculine feminine or feminine feminine. So there is something energetical here that is not a mistake. But again, a stag and a stag, they help strengthen the antlers. The cubs that are playing with each other, they train each other's nervous system. That's what we say in men's work, iron sharpen iron. You don't sharpen iron with copper or other metal. You sharpen it with iron. And men sharpen men. Men need men to strengthen their horns, to sharpen their teeth, to call each other into presence, into accountability, into giving their gifts to the world. So sometimes it's a bit of a clashy, energetical meeting, But that's not necessarily bad, and there is a way to do it consciously with alignment, like we do in our retreat. So that's one thing. The second thing is that we don't get initiated into this connection, into this brotherhood. We don't even know that it exists. Like I said, we forgot. And more than that, we live in a society that tells us that men are dangerous. We live in a society today that is talking all about scarcity. There's not enough for everyone. There's not enough place for everyone. There's not enough mates for everyone. There's not enough jumps for everyone. So I need to compete every man that is in the room, especially if I feel he's powerful, right? That's what society tells us to do. And again, that his power, his sexuality, his direction is dangerous. You know, it's a reason for all wars. It's the reason for all abuse. And it's the reason for the abuse of our planet, of our mother Gaia, right? So these are subtle messages that we receive and we eat and we swallow, and they're there. Maybe unconsciously, maybe more consciously. And the third thing that I want to say is this connection to the feminine that is still, I'm not talking about you here, I'm talking about where I was and where many men that I work with are, this still connection to the mother. It's still almost in a child. A lot of us are in a child pose still, that we're still holding to our mom. Yes. Because we haven't been initiated. Because our dad, our father archetype, the masculine didn't come and take us to that first hunt with the man. So we feel more comfortable with women. You know, women are nurturing, they're soft. We feel more safe to open. We feel more safe to talk about our emotions. We are, feeling nurtured and alive. Which is, again, okay and healthy and good and well, because that's the feminine. The feminine is light. The feminine is life. The feminine is pleasure. The feminine is nurture. And again, I'm talking about the feminine. I have that feminine, you have that feminine, women embody that feminine. So just as a clarification here. Mm-hmm. But so the masculine is attracted to, wants to go and is enlivened by the feminine. So when I see a woman, it makes me feel like there is a reason to be alive, right? When I go in nature, I'm submerging myself in the feminine. Because the feminine is form. So I'm like, wow, look at all this beauty. So there's also that natural draw to be around the feminine, to be connected to the feminine and be with more women. And there is maybe less of a natural draw to be with the masculine. But you know that when you meditate, meditating is a great way to be in the masculine.
Yes, to be in
to spend time with them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In presence, consciousness, stillness, emptiness.
And you mentioned this lack of initiation, with which I totally agree. And how do you envision that we can bring back initiation into manhood, back into society? Like in an awakened humanity, how do we celebrate this initiation into masculinity?
It can look at a full-on rites of passage out in nature with a bunch of men. It can be just having a coach and working with that way. It can be self-initiated with some kind of a ritualistic way, and it can be even just doing your inner work with the intention of, I want to come into my masculinity in an integral way. And just as a side note here, for me, an internal, awakened, conscious masculinity is one that is fully integrated in the inner feminine. That's very important for me to say, because a lot of men's work there and a lot of coaches out there, again, make you just resonate, amplify, and embody solely the masculine. And for me, that is lacking, that is a bit delusional, and is a bit disconnected from reality. Because we are whole being. We have masculine and feminine, and they work together. Without connecting to my feminine, my masculine is not going to go very far. Because my inner feminine is my way to feel, to sense, to attune, to feel aliveness, right? So if I'm disconnected from my inner feminine, I'm basically blind. Because how can I feel what feels good? How can I feel my purpose? How can I feel being in integrity if I cannot feel, right? So that's a very important side note for me to say. Back to your question, initiation. Now, in whatever way, one of those ways that you do it, what we need to understand is that initiation involves other men.
Yes.
It involves going with elders. It involves getting that information, getting that transmission, getting that imprint, right? And that's again what we used to have. In a tribal society, you would grow up with your brothers, you would have your uncles, you would have your father, you would have your grandfather, and all the elders of the tribe. You would have so many role models. And all of them are active, and you can see how they move, you can see how they treat the other people in the tribe. So this initiation that we're looking for is, even if you're working with a coach and you get that transmission, if you're going to hopefully a very good and integrative men's work or men's group or having a men's circle. And again, you can have that transmission just by yourself with doing those inquiry, going alone back to nature, being by your own. That transmission can happen directly, just energetically, but it's very helpful to have it.
It's true. It needs this community of men to receive this initiation in a healthy way.
Yeah.
And I know you also work a lot with shadow work. What does that actually mean in general, but also in the context of men's work?
Yeah, thank you for asking that. And that shadow work and shadow integration modality is something that completely changed my approach to life, to myself, to other people, and to men's work. Because I used to be doing that men's work that is pushy. It's like, okay, a man is like that and go like that and be man enough, and we need to show up like that all the time and be the rock and be the center pole for your relationship, and that kind of a voice. And that was okay for a minute, but when I started to do shadow work, deep shadow work on myself, when I started to train with that with my mentors, I came to understand that the reality is that we carry so much inside. We carry traumas, we carry beliefs that we're not even aware of that are running the show. We carry pains that are unresolved. And where we are a grown man in the age of whatever, there are parts of us. We are actually fragmented inside. And that's not in a bad way, and not in a dramatic way that I'm saying, but there is a part of me that is a child. there is a part of me that learned something and got hurt in a way, and then learned how to survive that in a way and to protect himself in a way. And that part is still there, is still young, and is still doing the thing that is learn how to do. And that the only way to bring that part up to speed, to the present, and align and on board with where I'm going as a man is to go there, have a conversation, understand that part, to sit to a conversation with that part. And that part will always need to be acknowledged, be heard, and express what it has to say without judgment, accepted and held. And then when we do that, that part can open to a new possibility. You know, otherwise, I'm going that way. I'm trying to be that kind of man. I'm trying to be aligned with my values, but there is a part of me that is, that's not safe. I don't want to go there. I've been hurt that way before. And first and foremost, most of us don't even know that that's happening. We're just like, why am I is this pattern? Like I'm doing this work. I'm trying to show up for my relationship. I'm doing the man's work. I know how I should be. And this pattern keeps on coming back. And we're all just like, wow. So if we don't do that work, we can never bring our wholeness into full integration in one single point direction. And so how does this connect to men's work? Is what when I learned that and saw that on myself, I realized that there is no use taking a man and trying to kick him in a direction and trying to tell him, be a man, where there is a child there that needs to have a resolution, that needs to be heard and actually held and loved exactly where he is, right? What do you need to do with a child? You know?
To hold it.
Exactly. You need to hold it. Loving presence, attunement, safety, and tell him like, hey, come here. It's okay. You're safe now. What happened? You know, and then when you give that transmission, when you give that loving presence and safety, and you let him express what happened in school, what happened in his bad dream, what's troubling him, then the exhale comes. Then you can like, hey, you want to go outside? Hey, do you want to, whatever it is that you feel like that child needs right now, or that you know is best for this child. But you have to do those things. You cannot skip. And so that is a missing part that I'm seeing in a lot of men's work today. That perspective that is crucial, that is unskippable, unavoidable.
Yes. I often also find that the more we develop, the more we step into the new, the more the old also kind of presses to the surface and wants to be seen.
Yeah, for sure. Because, you know, if we're carrying like a heavy box full of all kind of treasures from the past, you know, all our traumas and pains and unresolved issues, and we're like, oh yeah, okay, I want to go there. Boom. Oh, that box, you know. Yes. Because if you're standing here and you don't know where you're going, and you just find where you are, and like, you know, then the rope is not very tight. There's no reason to feel that, right? Because you're here hanging with your box. It's like, oh wait, actually, I came here to do something. I have a purpose in this life as a man. I want to show up more. Then you're like starting to walk and well, everything that's stopping me, everything that is in the way now is relevant to deal with.
Thank you. And I want to fast forward with you one more time through billions of processes of evolution that we all are going through together as humanity, but also as mankind. And to envision, how will we be present as man on this planet once we've gone through all these evolutionary processes? What qualities are we going to embody? What is, or how do you see it? It doesn't need to be a complete list.
Well, let's go for best case scenario here because
that's what
because we're allowed to manifest and dream. In my eyes, my deepest prayer and wish, and the direction I'm setting on my horizon to do this work, is I'm seeing a society, a human community, where the men are free to be themselves, where the men are safe to show up in their full power and are being celebrated for that by their brothers, by other women, where the men are conscious to wield their power in a good way that is serving. And again, a big word that's coming to me is safe, where the men are safe.
Yes.
They're safe for each other. They're safe for their inner child, their inner world and emotions and their own hearts. They're safe for the women. They're safe for the planet. And that they are able to hold, they're able to lead in a way that is attuned to the one they're leading, because we can lead and like, that's the direction and and like create more harm and scar tissue. But it's attunement, again, just as a side note, men's work for me, a big question that defines it for me is what is needed. What is needed right now? And not what is needed from my ego and my wants and what is needed in a bigger sense. Not what I want or what's comfortable for me, but what is needed right now to open this moment, to open this brother, to open this woman, to open nature, all the levels, what is needed. So I envision a society and a community of men that is attuned to what is needed and are willing to take action towards them. They're not passive. They're not afraid. They are not just trying to go and look for people to tell them that they're okay. They're confident enough to know that they're okay. They know who they are. And I see a society of men that are doing the work, that have been doing the work, that know how to hold themselves and their emotions and their pains and their traumas, that they can be vulnerable with each other, with other men, and in that vulnerability own where they are. That's some of the vision that I'm looking for. At taking responsibility. Yeah.
Beautiful.
And I want to say that there can be fierce, powerful, and at the same time soft. You don't need to be anything all the time. We're humans. Nothing is in nature is one thing all the time. So that we can be soft and powerful where we actually are in that moment.
And to dedicate our power to the benefit of all. This is something that I also really feel. This understanding of like, this is not about me, but this is about the whole.
Yeah. And here we can go many ways, right? It's like for the highest benefit of all beings is the Buddhist way. For something greater than me. Yes. Whatever that is, for God. Find each of us, man, needs to find our something greater that we dedicate to ourselves. It's like a samurai. A samurai always has a master. It doesn't mean that we are, submissive or anything, not in that way, but we are working for something bigger than us. And that's what brings that fulfillment.
And we bow down to the great spirit that we are part of. I can feel it. I feel this word coming. And I thank you for dedicating yourself to building it through your work. And I've seen that you are organizing some workshops in the coming months in Mexico and Guatemala, which sounds very inspiring. Part of me wants to jump on a plane and come. Maybe I do it.
You're very welcome, brother.
Thank you. And maybe share a little bit with us what's going to happen at the workshop. Like, what can someone imagine that hasn't done any men's work before?
Well, I don't want to give too much because the surprise and is a big factor, and nothing I can say will prepare you fully for that experience. What you can expect is a container full of men which are like-minded, which are there to support each other, which are there to look together at what it is to be a man, what are some of the pains that we are carrying, and hold each other. It's a container for us to come into sacred brotherhood, to do deep shadow work, to be in community, and to come more into our power, to understand how to move with the feminine. Basically, we're going to address a lot of the questions and pain points and confusion that we've spoken today.
Beautiful.
And with that, a lot of exercise, embodiment, and bringing it into the body. So we're not going to speak about it. We're going to live it.
Live it. I like it.
Yeah.
And please also let me know again the dates and the locations.
Yeah. So the 16th to the 20th in Mazunte, which is in Oaxaca, Mexico.
Of which month?
Of November. So this upcoming November, 16th to the 20th in Mexico, in Mazunte. And it's going to be in Lake Atitlan in Guatemala from the 1st to the 5th of December.
2022.
These are, yes, 2022. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. And so if any who's listening is feeling the call, please, you're welcome to join us and to go through this initiation into the man that you are, into your power, into your freedom, to your confidence. And other than that, I just want to also plug in that most of the work that I do is actually one-on-one. And in one-on-one coaching sessions, in one-on-one deep dive into shadow work. In the coaching session, the masculine reclamation coaching session, obviously do with men, but also if you are any type of gender, if you orientation, any type of sexual orientation, you're welcome. And if you just want to understand that side of yourself, because you have it. So I'm very much excited to work with anyone and everyone. And especially in the shadow work session, no matter who you are, what you are, which we all have traumas and shadows.
Yes.
So I worked with every men, women, and everything in between.
I think that's
so whoever you are, I welcome you. And yeah, there is space here, and I'm here to be of service and support.
Beautiful. Thank you. And I think that's a really important point, that we all have shadows, we all have trauma, and basically we all need therapy, we all need guidance, we all need coaching. And I think that's something that also society is really good to acknowledge, that it's really something we need, like especially in these times right now. And I again want to, with all my heart, recommend also to work with you. I don't get anything from this. This is just my heart for testimonial. I really enjoyed the work with you, and I know it's totally worth it to attend, especially as both the one-on-one, but especially the workshops. They're also in really magic locations in Mexico and Guatemala, and it's totally worth it to fly there just for the workshop. So whoever is recording, I really recommend it with all my heart. And of course, an important question: if someone wants to reach out to you, to connect with you, or to learn more about your work, how can they find you?
Thank you for that. And thank you for the warm acknowledgements and words. I deeply receive them, and thank you for that. If anyone wants to find me, I have a website being built, but the current and it's going to be there even if there is a website or not, is through Instagram is the best way. You can also in Instagram, I post a lot of things and free content, free value, honestly. And through there, you can go into also free meditations that I offer, free masterclasses. So Instagram is a very active place for me, and you can always shoot me a private message for anything and everything, to book a session, to ask a question. I'm available to communicate through there. And my handle, however you say that, is Ori, Ori, 3 lower dashes, so dash, Dahan, Dahan.
Perfect.
And that's how you find me there.
Add it in the description of the video as well.
Yeah. Also Facebook, just Ori Dahan, my name. And I'm there on the social networks.
Excellent. Well, with that, I could talk with you for hours about this topic. I love it. I thank you for today. It was really a pleasure to have you here today. And keep on doing this awesome work, brother. So important.
I hope to see you in Guatemala or Mexico.
Yes, in the right moment. It will happen. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. It's been a pleasure.